My name is Elizabeth Higgins, and this is my final project for cartography at UCLA. I wanted to make a correlation map between earthquakes and population centers within Los Angeles County. I noticed while looking at different shapefiles how the correlation is pretty strong when you overlay the two shapefiles of strong population points within Los Angeles and areas where earthquakes have happened in the past. So I added them in 3 different layers using GeoJSON files to this map here. And I created this geo layer here so we can see the different layers of the map. The first layer I have is a polygon of Los Angeles County. The second layer I put on top of that was the earthquakes. So each red circle represents earthquake, and when you click on it, it shows the magnitude of the earthquake, where it was located, and the year, like in this case 1988, that the earthquake occurred. The final layer in my geolayer is the population. When you click this, you can see the different areas where the population is centered, and when you click on each blue dot, you can see exactly how many people are in those areas. So right here we have 18,532 people. I thought the correlation was pretty strong when you have the map zoomed up like this, but when you zoom out, not forward, when you zoom out just a little bit, you can see the correlation is really strong. Like when you're looking at it from a distance, you can really see it there. The population and earthquakes are pretty closely correlated, so I thought it was a really interesting and important topic to look into more carefully. So the next page I created was chloropleth correlation, and when this page loads, we can see the land tracts and the families that live in each land tract over the historic earthquakes that have occurred in those areas. So for example, we'll take this one. When you hover your mouse over this area, you can see that there are 1,785 families living in this area. And when you click on the red dot, you can see that in 1976, an earthquake magnitude of 4.3 occurred right here. So you can see that even though people know historically that these earthquakes occurred, they still decide to live in these areas. So this map gives you more in-depth information about the number of families that live in each area and the earthquakes that occur. The next page I created was the discussion page. This page shows a lot of things that I thought was really interesting about my findings. First, this video is really interesting. It's about earthquake-proof buildings in Los Angeles, and this particular building, it shows how they made this one building completely earthquake-proof, so I thought that was cool to look at. I linked these 3 websites here for you to look at, and I thought they were really interesting. The first website is the USGS Earthquake Information Site, and that's really important to look at. The second one is a news article that shows how California is developing an early warning system for earthquakes, and it's going to be put in place soon, so that's important. And the last one is a list of earthquakes that have occurred in California and their history, and that's extremely important to know. Here I created this map in QGIS, and I made it really simplistic on purpose because I wanted to just show how the correlation is not just in Los Angeles County, but all throughout California, where you can see the red circles represent the earthquakes, the green circles represent highly populated regions, and you can see they overlay, they match up pretty well throughout California, you can see. So I wanted to show that because it's very, very important to understand that people are doing this, and then the next question will be why. There is a theory that people are more attracted to locations that are geographically beautiful, and that could be why people settled in these areas, but more would need to be looked into as far as that goes. The final 2 things I have here, one is a link to a website that shows you where earthquakes are happening or have happened near you, and you can see the magnitude of the earthquakes and their exact location, so that's really important and useful and you should probably look at that if you're curious about earthquakes in your area. And the final thing I included was a list of really large earthquakes that have occurred. So this chart shows 6.9 earthquake occurred in San Bernardino County, and Northridge 6.7 earthquake. So these are all really big earthquakes in highly populated areas. These are all highly populated areas, and these huge earthquakes are happening, and yet people still live in these areas. So I thought that was pretty interesting and pretty important to note. You can go back to the home page, and that's my project. You can click on the screencast page, but that would just be weird since we're on the screencast. But thank you so much for watching, and Merry Christmas. Thank you.